bring him to, woo! What is it? It's a trout on that big hoochie. Oh, we got him.
Nice.
Woo! Show off that fish, man. Got him on the blue and silver hoochie right there. Nice. Hoochie with an action disc, guys. 3.5-inch hoochie, no blade, no nothing, just the action disc. Howdy guys, Kel Kellogg here. Welcome back to the channel. If you like trout fishing and you're not already a subscriber, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. You'll be helping me out a bunch, and hit that bell notification and you'll always know when I'm here on YouTube talking about trout fishing. And today we're going to kick things off talking about hoochies for trout and landlocked salmon, and then we're going to wrap things up. As I promised in my last video, I'm going to talk a little bit about top fall trout destinations here in California. So let's get into the hoochies. You saw that fish caught in the beginning of this video. That young man caught a beautiful Folsom Lake rainbow on this hoochie right here, a big old 3.5-inch hoochie, and he wasn't trolling it behind a dodger. He simply had it paired with an action disc, just like that. Now, there's a couple common misnomers about trolling hoochies among the trout fishing fraternity out there. One, most guys think you can only pull small hoochies like that army truck colored hoochie right there from Silver Horde / Gold Star. The fact is, you could troll tubes like my minnow tubes, you could troll medium-sized hoochies like this, or you can troll big full-size 3.5 to 4-inch ocean-sized hoochies like this in lakes, and you can catch trout and landlocked kings of all sizes on these baits. You saw that fish caught in the beginning. What was that fish, 14 inches maybe? He jumped all over that large hoochie. Now, I wasn't pairing that with a dodger, and very often I don't pair my hoochies with dodgers. Sometimes I do. That's a great presentation. Take a hoochie like that, put it, 14 inches behind a 6-inch blade, always, 2 to 3 blade lengths behind the blade to impart that kind of stutter stop action. And that's a great presentation at, anywhere you've got big, deep, open expanses of water and the trout are feeding on bait fish. They hear that blade, they move in, they think it's a trout feeding on bait, they see the hoochie, and you're yelling fish on. But hoochies work very well trolled without a blade. I really like to pair them with an action disc like that. We'll talk a little bit more about this little guy in a second, but let's take a look at how I've got this rigged. The thing is with a hoochie is it is a great bait fish imitation. As you can see right there, there is glitter integrated into the plastic. When trolled through the water, all these little filaments move, and all that combined with the vibration imparted by the action disc, it adds up to one thing. It looks like a bait fish moving through the water. The action disc puts out a lot of vibration that trout or kings can feel through their lateral line. That draws them in. They see a minnow, and it's game on. Here's how I got this rigged. In this case, because I have the big hoochie, I'm running 12-pound test fluorocarbon leader material, and I have the action disc. That is a number 1, or the smallest size action disc. That's riding right on the nose of the hoochie. I threaded a couple beads on my line. You can see them in there. I just shoved them up in the hoochie. It gives it a little bit of body, but more than anything, it pushes my hooks back. And you always want, when you're fishing a hoochie, you always want your hooks, you want that rear hook, if you're using a 2-hook rig, to be right at the tail end. When a fish comes nipping, they're going to get hooked. If you're fishing for kings, you want to tip your hooks with little pieces of anchovy skin or some other bait fish skin, just little pieces of skin. Kings love real meat. When they come in, they get a taste of that meat, and it just encourages them to, gobble that hoochie down even deeper. The deeper they take it, better the hookup is, and the more of those fish you're gonna land. So I've just got it rigged on a simple double octopus hook rig right there. Those are pretty large octopus hooks. I believe those are number 4 Gamakatsus. But anyway, pretty simple stuff. You see that bead there. I got a couple more up in the body of that hoochie. Just like that, action disc rides right on the nose of the bait, and lots of flash, lots of vibration, a great bait fish imitation. If you're gonna run this same rig, but with a smaller hoochie, sometimes I will run the action disc right on the nose of the Hoochie, but it does pay to put a couple bobber stops right here, right between the Hoochie and the disc. That way you can slide the bobber stops away from the Hoochie and you can really dial in the action. With a small bait like this, sometimes the action disc right on the nose of the bait is too much. It gives it too much action. If you slide those bobber stops, always use two. If you use two, they won't slide under water pressure. If you just use one, they have a tendency to slide, especially if you troll faster. But put two bobber stops on there, give yourself an inch and a quarter of space, and you're gonna really be able to dial in the action of that Hoochie. I mentioned speed. You control these at virtually any speed. With the action disc, they work great slow, 1.5 miles an hour. You're gonna get a presentation that puts off a lot of flash and a lot of vibration, but hangs out in the fish's strike zone for an extended period of time. You can also bump the speed all the way up to 3+ miles an hour, and works well at that speed too. I really like to mix Hoochies and flies in my spread. Some days when the trout are feeding on bait fish, they favor the flies. Other days, they really favor the plastics. Some days there's no difference at all. So if you're one of the guys out there in YouTube land that is only fishing small Hoochies and only fishing Hoochies paired with Dodgers, you know, expand your mindset a little bit. Think about rolling with naked Hoochies. Think about pairing Hoochies with action discs. Think about leaving the blades in your tackle box once in a while, and play with different Hoochie sizes and colors. I like the bait fish patterns, but the bright stuff works too. Orange, hot pink, stuff like that. I've also had really good results on a clear Hoochie, which, you know, it's clear. It doesn't look like much, but at times, especially at Lake Berryessa, I've had killer results running a clear or just a clear and glitter Hoochie out there paired with the action disc. Anyway, that's about it for Hoochies. They're an important tool. They're very inexpensive. Great bait fish imitation. You need some in your tackle box. I also know guys that fish them in rivers, but that's a whole nother story. Let's talk about fall trout fishing. Right now, we've got beautiful overcast conditions here in the Sierra foothills. We've got some tropical moisture pushing up the state. There's a big old hurricane / tropical storm that came ashore in Baja. I guess it's pushing out towards Las Vegas right now, but it's pumping clouds all the way up the state. We've had a little bit of rain, and it's just nice having some overcast skies, and it gives us a little taste of things to come, because, you know, it's getting into late August now. We are just a hop, skip, and a jump away from fall. And I love fall trout fishing. I think fall trout fishing is the best trout fishing of the year, because the fish, they get the urgency. You know, they understand on an instinctive level that the fat, lazy days of summer are coming to an end. The harsh days of winter, the short days of winter, the short, cold days of winter, when they're not going to be able to spend a lot of time feeding, are just around the corner, and they've got to put the feed bags on. Fall trout, they're notorious for feeding all day long. They get very aggressive, and it is just a great time to fish, you know, all of our great Northern California lakes, whether you're fishing the big impoundments like Shasta and Don Pedro, or the small stuff up in the mountains like French Meadows Reservoir and 100 other destinations I don't even know the names of. We are blessed with so many great trout lakes here in California. But I'm going to give you my top 5 picks for this fall. These are places I'm going to be visiting and I'm going to be filming at. Number 1, I am going down to the Eastern Sierras. I'm going to fish a few different lakes down there, but my fishing is going to center around Twin Lakes. I love that area. I don't fish it enough. I've never been on Twin Lakes in a boat or watercraft. Lucy and I were taking the kayaks down there. I might be joined by my cousin Tom. He might come down from Oregon. He loves Eastern Sierra. And we are going to explore Twin Lakes, maybe June Lake, maybe Gull Lake, some different spots. But definitely Twin Lakes, number 1. Number 2, Eagle Lake, up in the north, big, hard-fighting rainbows, great fly action in the fall. I'm going there. I will bring you along. I'm going to film it. I'm going to fish from the kayak. It's going to be awesome. So that's 2 lakes. 3rd lake, Davis, October, Davis, kayaks. I will be there. Davis, big numbers of rainbows, anywhere from 1.5 pounds to 4 pounds, 20 to 30 fish a day, trolling flies around the island. Enough said. Davis is absolutely incredible. That's 3. Elminor. I will be hitting Elminor. Elminor is frustrating, and it's magnificent, and it's full of giant trout, and it's also full of food. There are bugs, there are pond smelt, there is everything they need to get big, fat, sassy, and frustrating as all get out. I know there's 10-pound wild rainbows in the lake. Been trying to catch one forever. My biggest 7, I tell the clients on my boat when they ask about Elminor, it is graduate level trout fishing. The trout are big, and they're not easy to catch, but if you put in your time, you have a great chance of catching something epic. I seldom go up there and don't catch a 5-pound trout. Usually I catch something in the 5 to 6 pound range, but I've always got my fingers crossed that I'm gonna cross paths with a big double-digit rainbow. It's gonna happen. I just gotta be there and keep my line wet. That's 4 spots. 5th spot's gonna surprise some people. It is Folsom Lake. I have moved my fall guiding operation to Folsom Lake. It is a killer lake to fish in the fall. We've been out there all summer. I got my finger on a trout. I know where they're at. I know what they're doing. And as summer turns to fall, those fish are gonna move into the North Fork, and we are gonna be chasing big, hard-fighting wild rainbows and native American river steelhead, because those still reside in the lake. It's gonna be great shallow water fishing. Gonna be pounding them with flies on lead core rigs, threaded worms, spoons, and more. And if you want to get in on some of that action, book a trip with me. Folsom Lake is an epic fall trout fishery, and I am going to be out there almost every day on the FHS pontoon boat. If you're looking for gear, anything I've mentioned, you want to book a trip, rods, reels, and more, you know where to go. FHSfishing.com. We will hook you up. I've given you some stuff to think about. I've given you some destinations to think about. Mull all that over, and I will catch you next time right here on YouTube. You guys have a wonderful day.